watch the videos we've made today, I've been kind of decompressing and vegetating a little bit. Your brain needs that sometimes, that there's so much bad thought process, and as human beings, as a group, we're a Judeo-Christian we're a global unity movement. So what we think, do, and say affects everybody, right? And you're talking about a very humbly intelligent human being that's been like this for a long time. Okay, when they trace the stuff, they scientifically, they could trace it. It's a shame that people don't globally know who. Not as many people know who about him, about his existence, about what he did for humanity, to help them as a group understand eternity better, understand thoughts, words, and actions better. It's a shame that, because he was supposed to be. The British went and retrieved him from abuse in India. But it seems to be pretty much, part and parcel. A lot of that stuff seems to just happen that way. Remember Muhammad with the birthmark and having to go run, and the man, and it was probably Medina, I think, saw the birthmark on his uncle, brought him with him and saw it and said, that's the one who fulfills prophecy. You're going to get away. There's a lot of the treacherous Jews that will try to kill him. And, you get people, with treacherous Jews, you're God's chosen people. Okay, Saul, Caiaphas, and Herod, God's chosen people there, huh? Okay. Herod tried to hunt down Jesus as a baby and kill him. Saul with David, boy, that was a good relationship. Really functional there, right? Okay. Guys, that's just propaganda, okay? That's all propaganda. Okay. Zora Neale Hurston, God made one duck at a time, right? Only a peewit judges a man by the group and a group by the man, right? So when you get all these people sitting there supporting Benjamin Netanyahu mass murdering people in the Middle East because of propaganda and marketing and insanity, and tribal cult insanity, right? I'm watching Ike Barinholtz. I've seen him before. He's kind of funny. He had me laughing, and they have this girl that I had kind of a crush on when we watched The Office. I can't have a crush on her. She's got 3 kids, Mindy Kaling or whatever. She's from India. Well, she's from Boston, but her she eats Indian food, and so she has close roots from family that migrated from India to Los Estados Unidos, America, as we refer to it. United States of America. Names, labeling names. The ones I like are like, the names I like are like Mankato, Milwaukee, Kamloops, Kelowna, places that were already pretty much, I think, called that before we showed up in boats and started writing down on pieces of paper that we were relabeling everything. You know what I'm saying? And so it's it's nice to know that human beings are going to be doing better in the very near future, very very soon. A lot of the stuff that's been talked about and written about is over tens of thousands of years. Krishnamurti knew it was me. They had a thing where they were going to try to do like a channeling or a seance kind of thing, and he was going to talk to me in the future. And then he came back and said, they couldn't do it. That it wasn't, that when this happens, that it's not an easy thing. It's probably one of the most difficult things human beings ever had to go through and ever had to do, ever had to perform, and ever had to have people watching, either knowingly or anonymously, or just being ignorant and selfish and doing things over money to make themselves feel the delusions of the power and authority by insane people, and stuff. And so it's this is by far You've been the most heinous crimes against humanity against a man they refer to as, like, the Messiah, the Rabbi, the teacher, the Krishna, the Enlightened One, the Christ, so forth, the prophet. This by far has been the most heinous treatment of one that we've had publicly displayed. I mean, if they, I don't even want to talk about, and they told me about what the stuff with Michael Aquino and Antoine LaVey and the stuff, and when they told me about the service that they plug people to computers. I don't. I don't sit around crying a lot, okay? Things that make me cry are like, the insane murder of Michelle, and those conditions, and the children in your life that you care for, and what tender sweethearts they are, and they're being abused by jealous perverts. Those things occasionally, make me cry, And, when I sit there and think about, how I didn't have time to cry when my mother was killed by the medical industry of cancer. And I just didn't have, and all I could feel was relief for her because she was in such intense pain from all the abuse. And there wasn't anything I could do to stop it, And here I am, the most influential, intelligent, kind, brave, important person in this generation. And here I am on a YouTube channel with 12312 views, 321. Marginalized and abused by the worst narcissistic, horrible people that could ever talk into a camera. Are they still talking? Shh. Don't ask. Don't tell. Right? Well, it's a Clinton administration all over again. Yeah. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And sexual relationships are so overblown. Okay. They're not nearly as important as people make them out to be. You're not, it's like Pascal said, if you're not living the Lord's, if you're not living the Gospels, sexual relationships are just, selfish attachment and expression. You have kids and they're born into eternal wretchedness, and mama, ooh, sometimes I wish I had never been born at all. Carry on. So and how many, Jim Morrison's The End, and just, I don't feel that way about my parents. No, not at all. My parents, were stuck in this, I was listening to 12 Foot Never out in the barn, which my mom said was their song, and when I talked to my dad about it, he didn't even know or remember. And he asked me about certain things, with Johnny Mathis. That's Johnny Mathis. I said, 12th of Nether, never mind. It's supposed to be their song, right? So when the girl's with a guy and he's being romantic and he's thinking, who, how will I like her? And there's this thing in the song, and he didn't even, that's why she always sit there and had me listen to Helen Reddy's that ain't no way to treat a lady, no way to treat your baby, your woman, your friend. While he was busy looking into rivalry rivers and loving the show, And I don't think they are loving the show. I think it's just men get into that right-left hemisphere survival thing, and they see it as freedom, and they'll fight like hell for it, and then they'll eventually win, and they'll be the champions. And that's a part of the brain chemical addiction. Women, brain chemical addiction, producing, shopping, fashion, traveling, ideas, anything to keep her distracted. Kama Sutra, whatever. Anything to keep her distracted from the truth of what's happening to that beautiful man who enlightens us all. But most people don't even know he exists. What's his name? Jiddu Krishnamurti. I thought his name was Art Baron. No, it's Donald Duck. It's not Art Barinholtz. It's Donald Duck. More people in the world know who Donald Duck is, a cartoon character from Walt Disney's Economics, than they know who Jiddu Krishnamurti is, or remember who Jiddu Krishnamurti is. And Jiddu Krishnamurti was the line of Krishna and Siddhartha. Okay. Two of the most important, influential, intelligent, caring, kind, loving human beings in the history of the world. Okay. He's that line. Okay. And he redeemed him. All that bullshit, they tried to turn him into this great world teacher and all. He rejected that. He just said, no, I'm just here to help people be free from the delusions of human power and authority and success through competition and comparison. And then just have absolute freedom from that cynical and selfish abuse. And then just look at life eternally, that, we can, by understanding right from wrong, good from bad, and truth from lie, and then sharing that through communication, and then acting upon that through loving kindness and intelligence and good work, and everything will be good. Just like Jesus and the guys talk about in the Bible, just like Muhammad and the people live, the ways of the Quran and the truth of the faith of Jesus, and very similar. And they say that in India, a lot of wackadoodles. Jesus is advocate of Vishnu. It's like, yeah, and go build a temple, and then tell people they're gonna come back as the Raj, and the Raj is gonna come back as a banana slug, and that'll work. It's the economy of karma, right? It's so stupid. It is, It's not nice to see that the Chinese and the Indians and everybody else can be just as wackadoodle and inventive of insanity to replace the truth of our creation with invention and egotistical insanity. It's just not. It's very unsettling. It's very disturbing. It's very sad. Because you look at women, and as a man, you look at a woman and you realize, oh my gosh, for us to live and enjoy the beauty of this life on this beautiful planet, we as a man need a woman. And if you don't give her the Lord's Prayer, and all you give her is this selfish, egotistical perception and competition, she was looking out for her happiness, and you're looking within. Okay, your ego is destroying any capacity to share eternal love through that woman with your children. That ain't no way to treat a lady, no way to treat your baby, your woman, your friend. That ain't no way to treat a lady, no way. But maybe it's the way for us to end. All I focus on, okay, is my friends that help me in prayer, that Jesus, because Jesus, like I said, Jesus gets emotional. He's tired of everybody taking us and turning us into cartoon characters and saying that the cartoon character is better than us. What? Ain't a goddamn Superman, when they're sitting there debating that about the Kryptonian cleaners and all that shit and stuff, and they just make shit up as they go. Okay? And because they make shit up as they go, they can sit there and do the most heinous crimes against humanity and say, well, the ends justifies the means. Now I have the technology to make sure that we're all safe and everybody will have to get what they need through me because I'm the best scientific manager of all understanding eternally. And you're like, that ain't no way to treat a lady, no way to treat your baby, your woman, your friend. That ain't no way to treat a lady, no way. But maybe it's a way for us to end. I had this song out there in the bar when I was shooting hoops after they played a lot of Jennifer Lopez type head fuck songs. And a song called Daydreams. It reminds me of my Emily Gracie Bird. It's by John Denver. I even wrote a song. I remember laughing with you. I remember talking with you. I remember laughing all the time. Me and Emmy used to, she'd get asthma and it would hurt, and she'd get better. And when we stayed over there in the house, we slept in the one room together with Kate most of the time, and I slept on this much of the bed, and they took the rest. But it was always to keep the cat away from Emily, because cats, when they can put Pebbles was kind of a bitch, and you can put the kid in distress through, And then Teresa was like, "Well, get rid of the cat. Do all this." It's like, well, it's allergic reaction to the saliva of the cat. Okay, and it helps her get used to natural things. So having the cat's not a bad thing. The problem is the car, the stuff for the all bunch of clusterfuck of it was horrible. With Amy, doing sexual predication from the military online, and not when I was working nights, and not brushing the two littlest ones' teeth, and having to take them both to the dentist and have horrible dentist repair. And my thing was just, let's try to keep them as clean as possible, let the baby teeth go, and then make sure that the adult teeth are really taken care of, and don't make that mistake again. Amy wasn't raised to be a responsible parent, wasn't taught how to, and Amy was being predicated on by the Temple Set Illuminati, all you successful people's business partners. And David Rockefeller and Rothschild collected all the evidence. Okay, I can't overemphasize how much they did. Okay, I was such a rare human being. I was such a rare human being that they thought no hope that there could be any way, that I could have an influence on human beings to get them to change radically how they behave, so we could restore the planet and help the people heal with the planet. They just didn't see it as tangible. Okay. And the thing was it's my thing is you can take 10 people, 10 people that have the capacity to communicate globally, and then 10 people say, it could be Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Pope Leo, one of the major leaders of either Russia, Ukraine, France, wherever, whatever, elected leaders. 10 people could all get up and get together and say, this Parsons is the real deal. He's like Krishnamurti. He was the real deal. And what he's saying applies in physics. We have all the scientific evidence to support it and back it up. 10 people, and then spread it globally. Elon Musk could be one of them. Right? And then within a week, we could be doing things better than we did during COVID protocols to help do essential movement only and start restoring this ecosystem immediately. Immediately. 10 people. Just 10 of the right people. And it would radically change, a lot of these people that sit there and, Dad wouldn't be over there listening to, and I am your God, and know that my God, that I'm always with you. And that if other people come up and say that, and try to turn you against me, you have to lock them out of your life so I can bring you these blessings, We won't have that shit anymore. Just 10 people. That's all we need. It could be even 2. If it comes to someone like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and then combining with other, extreme Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Shit, that's probably enough. They're both aren't they on kind of opposite ends of the spectrum on a lot of things as far as political ideologies? 2 guys. 2 guys. They have the capacity to globally trend and spread. 2 guys. And then all the people, the guy who's going to have more robots than cars in India, and, all the scientists in China, they'd all have to follow suit, or there would just be it would be more of a, it'd be a very peaceful, what they perceive as a revolution. But, Tiananmen Square would just be like, what was that? No, that was just a bunch of people, out there trying to get run over by tanks because they wanted Nikes and Levi's. That's just stupid, isn't it though? Okay. Sure enough it is. Okay. So, it's sad that these people are still, feeling compelled that they have to do stuff like this to make a joke out of our existence for ridiculous amounts of money, for people that don't need it, to have houses, to have cars, to have food. A lot of these people, the life and sad ending of blibber dobber stupor common. And they And these people die, and they had this horrible life, and there's a toxic environment, and they're really sick, and they were a celebrity and star, and they died at age 78, and really sad in the last days, and they were worth $2.5 million when they died, and passed away on their couch counting money that they had stuffed inside the cushions, you know. That's the music to Benny Hill. I don't know if you guys can understand that, but okay, guys, I'm gonna go, and I love you very much. I'll load this one, and I'll listen to some of the ones we made earlier today, and then we'll just slowly but surely. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah, this isn't the Naked Gun movies. Okay, guys, I love you very much, and trust me that this is very much happening. Life is always happening. Jesus always tells me that prayer. He goes, all the Gospels aren't something that did happen or are going to happen. They're constantly happening. Life is eternal, grace is infinite, and truth is omnipotent. So it's always happening. So this is happening. So don't worry about your pages in the book. They're already there. You can't do anything about what you did yesterday, and you can't do anything about what you did today. But you can take this moment to make sure that tomorrow will be so much better than your yesterday and today. Right? Hey, it's 11:30 Mountain Standard Time in Las Cruces, New Mexico. But I'll keep working on the technology, and I'm a very hopeful person. I'm the type of person. I believe anybody can get up and radically change and go from a selfish bad person. Like old Charles Dickens with his Ebenezer Scrooge story. I have that same kind of hope in me too. Okay, guys, I love you. We'll talk later. All right, peace out, man.